Hi everybody, it's Lauren Brown, also known as The Bang was crazy. Hi everybody, it's Lauren Brown, also known as Raggedyroyal on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now YouTube. And today we're going to be doing this full face right here. I have a tutorial on my brows, these exact brows, also on another video. But we're going to be doing this brown, matte, glowy face. I don't have a name for it yet. So whatever name is in the title, that is what the rag dolls chose on my Instagram. And yes, give this video a like, subscribe, and watch and learn. Alright, so I already did my brows on another YouTube video, so go check out how I did my fiery color ombre eyebrows. They're literally just eyeshadow. I have 2 videos on color brows, so go check those out. Let's get into this face. Now, y'all know how I feel about doing eyes before face. You should always do eyes before face. Except for this tutorial, this makeup look only has like 1 eyeshadow, so it's not gonna be much fallout. So let's do the face first, just because I want the eyeshadow to blend into the face. First step first. I'm gonna use all the illuminating primers that I have because I want this look to be dewy, right? I'm gonna go in with the Makeup Forever Hydra Booster Step 1 primer. I could really just stop here, but I don't know. I want it to be extra shine, and I didn't do my skincare yesterday, so I need as much help as I can get. The primer and the setting spray is really gonna help this dewy look like live, breathe, be. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of Mercier Illuminating just because I can, but you can really stop at whatever dewy primer you have. I also like the Milani dewy primer from the drugstore. Yeah, y'all know how I feel about making my tutorials accessible and easy, and everybody just use what you have. It don't have to be exactly what I have, but you're gonna use a dewy primer, and I'm gonna take this brush right here, which is a Morphe M536, which is just kind of like a big dome brush. And I'm going to apply that primer. I already have a little bit on because I was recording the other video. Let me tell you something. If you ever want to go no makeup, but you want to have a little bit of a shine, put a little primer on. You're welcome. A little illuminating primer. Actually, no, not an illuminating primer. A hydrating primer. The illuminating primer be having a little bit of a sheen to it. This has a little bit of sheen to it. But a hydrating primer, you're welcome. Want to boost that moisturizer? Yeah. Alrighty. Now I'm gonna go in with foundation now. Here, this is kind of like a base tutorial almost, because I'm doing my base again. But if y'all want to see an in-depth base tutorial, please let me know down below, because last time I did one was 2 years ago. It's probably time for a new one. So I'm gonna go in with a tinted moisturizer. I always mix my tinted moisturizer with my foundation just because I like the way that the finish comes off, and I don't need my foundation to be too foundation-y, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need that. Also because my colors be off. It's really hard to match my skin color to foundation for some reason. I don't know. So sometimes when they're too dark, I add a little bit of tinted moisturizer and fix it. This is the Mercier Tinted Moisturizer in 4W1 Tawny. That's my shade. And then this is the Born This Way Undetectable Medium to Full Coverage Foundation in Warm Beige. It's going to come out a little bit light on me because I have a tan. So don't worry. It's going to get scary. It's going to get better when we add the contour and all that. So there's your warning for that. I'm going to take this Real Techniques foundation brush, and as I was saying in my other video, my house is under renovations, so like these are going to be the most random brushes ever. I'm really just trying to use whichever brush is the cleanest, y'all know. But I do love this Real Techniques brush. It comes in a 4 set. Actually, I have a new one. It comes in a 4 set. If you want to start doing makeup, you want to start doing face makeup, you don't know what brushes to get this set right here, just for starters, because the foundation, concealer, all of this is a good set. I'm going to be using another Real Techniques brush that's not in that set. I usually use something from there, but you know. And what I do with my foundation is I'm going to dot it first. Just because I don't like putting product directly into the brush. I feel like it makes it get dirtier quicker, and I don't be cleaning my brushes like I probably should. Look, man, I only got 24 hours in a day. That's my clean my brushes. It was like a 5-6 day affair because it takes so long. It dries a lot. So I don't like putting the foundation right into the brush. I feel like it makes it dirtier. It just doesn't feel as clean. I like doing the dots on my face. Also, I feel like I can spread it even, way more even, because I just put it right onto the brush and then I did a streak. Like, what about the other side of my face? You know what I mean? So that's why I do that. And I'm going to just buff this out. I do pats. I don't know. These are like short swipes. Not necessarily pats, but short swipes. I'm not really worried about the under eye part because I wear a lot of concealer, okay? I'm not one of those no makeup girlies. Like, I wear a lot of concealer. So I'm not too worried about foundation getting there. What I'm going to do is go around my brows with foundation really quickly just because I've started doing that again. I know people are scared of halo brows, but like, I'm brave. And really the key is to do it with your foundation and not your concealer because your concealer is usually too light. I'm going to go around with my foundation just because I like it giving a sharper look. It just looks way cleaner. And y'all know I hate doing brows, so any little trick to make it look cleaner without having to, like, you know, do too much, I'm here for it. Okay, I hate doing brown brows. I love doing colored brows, but still, you know, I want to make sure it looks clean, especially because it's eyeshadow. This is not my real brow color, so I'm gonna need all the help I can get. So I'm gonna be taking, this is a Morphe M410. This is just a flat brush. Alright, so I do two concealers. The first concealer I'm going to use is the Too Faced Born This Way Mocha. I use Sculpting Concealer in Gold and Beige. Also, when I use foundations that I have the concealers to, I like to use them together. One, because I'm an influencer. Ooh, I'm an influencer and content creator, and so it's just easier for me to like use the same brands at the same time. You know, especially when I have to do details and when I have to tag the brand, it just looks better for the people who are trying to buy this stuff and the people who make the stuff. It's just easier for me, like, in a job sense, but also because usually the foundation and the concealer go together. They're made by the same person, especially if they're in their same line. Like these are both in the Born This Way line. They're formulated for this. All right, I like to do two concealers. I like to do a concealer that's a little bit lighter than my skin tone, and then one that's super light for brightening in the middle of my face. So the first one, this is the Golden Beige shade, and how I'm going to apply this, I'm trying to tell y'all right now, I am not one of those girlies that do a little bit of concealer. I'm not. I've tried it. I don't really get the hype. I'm gonna go all over this under eye, and a little under my nose too because it's red. I'm going to take this Real Techniques brush, which is in that 4 set that I showed y'all before. And this is the contour brush. And I'm going to go right underneath it and start blending. I took my nose rings out just because they are like clear in some points and it's just gonna be a lot to clean them off. They're bumblebees and they're kind of intricate, so I just took them out and I'll put them back in a second. They're actually just earrings from Claire's, but I don't feel like dealing with that drama, so I'm gonna blend that out. And then we're gonna go in with our second concealer. So this concealer is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I also like using the LA Ultimate Cover Concealer. It's way cheaper and they come in a lot of different light colors. I like using those as well, but since we're going for something dewy, I want something that is creamy, and it says creamy in the name, and I don't want something that's matte. So what I'm going to do is, this is in shade Chantilly, by the way. I'm going to go right underneath the eye and in this inner corner right here on the nose as well. I'm going to contour the nose, so you know, give a little reverse contour realness too as well. I'm going to take an eyeshadow brush. This is a Colourpop E2. Just because I want something smaller for this more narrow area. I can even go up here today because, I mean, it's not really going to matter much. Usually I don't, but it doesn't really matter. Because we're going to be doing a brown eyeshadow and we're going to cover that up. Anyway, I'm going to add a little bit of spray. So here are my two favorite dewy sprays. So this is the Lottie London Illuminating Setting Spray. I swear this one right here, she's that girl. Every time I do my face with this spray right here, I love it. And I also love the Dewy set from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm going to be using both. You could use either. This one is probably way easier to find because like Ulta, Sephora, but it's more expensive. This one's harder to find because Lottie London's in is not in Ulta, Sephora, but it's cheaper. Pick your poison. All right, pick your poison. So I'm gonna be just spraying a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. I gotta be careful because my hair. I forgot about my bang. My bad. It's a little. Because I want this to be a really dewy face. I want it to be very pretty, very dewy, very glowy. So I'm going to add just a little bit in between each step. So now we're going to go into blush. I like doing my blush before my contour because I do my contour before my blush. Then when I put the blush on top, it kind of gets muddy with the contour and wipes it away a little bit. So I like doing my blush first when I remember to. So I'm going to be using the color Raine Cream Blush, black owned. This is in the shade Spicy. It is my favorite orange blush. Yes. To make the eyeshadow match perfectly, we're going to be going on top of the cheeks with the eyeshadow that I use. But I'm going to start off with a little bit of base. A little bit of a base with this blush. Alright, so I'm going to be using a Morphe M405 brush, which is on its last leg. Thank you for your service. And I'm going to just be patting into this. It is cream. I'm not going to swipe. I feel like that just makes the bristles sticky. I don't like it. So now what I'm going to do is go right under the concealer. We need more. Aha! Right under the concealer, I'm going to go right on top of where the contour is going to be. Oh yeah. I love an orange concealer. I mean, orange blush. I had to leave this little bit of hair out so I can make sure that my brows match my hair. And I still might have to fix them in a second. If you feel like you add too much blush, especially if it's a cream blush, take that concealer brush. Everything's good. Alright. Now for contour, I'm going to take the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, which is the same concealer that we had earlier. I have it in 3 shades. I have a light shade, like my skin tone, like a little bit lighter than my skin tone shade, and then a dark shade for contour. And this is in shade Cafe. So what I do with this is I add like 3 dots on the top of my cheeks and the perimeter of my face, so up there by my edges. I like to add it a little bit higher than my actual contour. So my actual contour of my face, like we have natural contours of our face, would be about right here. I like to add a little bit higher than that because Nikki Tutorials taught me to years ago. Also because it makes your face look snatched. You're welcome. I'm going to be using this Morphe E4 brush. And we're blending up. For the same reason I just told you. Just to make it, you know, snatch. Also, when you start blending down, it just gets muddy and yeah, no. That's not what we're intending to do. I blend in circles up here on my head, on my forehead, my pore edges. I just got my hair dyed yesterday. A little circle, a little light up. See what I told you about the foundation being too light? I told you it wouldn't be an issue. I'm gonna just do a little with the foundation brush. Also, I've just now started going underneath my chin with a little contour. It's really usually not my style because I like to wear collared shirts and such, and it just gets really messy. But I did the other day and I kind of liked it, so we'll see how long that lasts. Alright, now it's time to do the nose contour. I'm going to be using this brush right here. It's from Beige Cosmetics. I'm going to be honest with you. This brush is probably older than my YouTube channel. It doesn't have a name. But if you want a brush that has a name, this is a Morphe E62. I use this one as well. But you can just use a dome brush. I'll be using a dome brush like this. It's easy to manipulate. But if you want to use another brush, this right here. Or really any like blending brush. Small blending brush. So maybe a Morphe M456. Or something more dome like a Morphe M321. Your pick. You just want to make sure that you can move it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same contour. So this is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Cafe, and put it on the back of my hand. I put it on the back of my hand because sometimes doing that, like putting the applicator on your nose thing, it's too much. It's too much and it's hard to blend out. I want to have a little bit more control. So I'm going to blend on the back of my hand. And then I'm going to start on the right side of the nose. And I'm just going to go like this. And a little bit right here. And then I'm going to blend it up into underneath the brow. But I have to be very careful because my eyebrows are colored. And something about red eyeshadow. Even when you think it's not there, it's there. See how? It just comes back to bite and then it starts turning pink and it's just a mess. So I have to be a little careful. Also, we're going to go back in with eyeshadow on the top. So this doesn't matter as much as if I was just doing like a base tutorial. And I'm going to blend down. True story. And I'm going to go in a V underneath the nose. I'm not really a nose contour fanatic. Okay, this is just what I like to do. I'm not like, oh, I'm trying to make the nose snatched. I just like doing a little some. These are just things that I've tried out that I realize I like. I know it's a lot of different ways to do it, but I like the little V underneath. And don't worry, I'm gonna go in and put some blush on it. You know how I feel about if you don't put blush on your nose. Grow up. All right, now that I've done that, I'm going to go in with that Chantilly shade, just a smidge. Just so that I can blend it. I have to you have to add the concealer on the outside though, because I feel like if you just contour your nose, but you contour all the way out here, like it just makes your nose look like larger, not really like the true proportion to your face. So you do have to, like, as much as it's not like, oh, I want to make my nose skinny, like, you're also not trying to make your nose look bigger than it actually is. So you gotta add that little, you have to clean up with concealer on the outside. Don't worry about the inside of the nose. Like the bridge, we'll work on that in a second. Also, I'm not too worried because I'm going to be adding setting powder. And setting powder will cover up all of my issues. My friend told me that she'd been doing her makeup but not setting it. I just thought that was the craziest thing. Like, I still think about that sometimes. Like, no setting powder, just like free willy-nilly. Crazy. Alright. Now I'm going to use a little bit of that light concealer again. I'm going to put this on the back of my hand because last time it got all out of hand. And I'm going to be using this Morphe M421, just a little flat brush. And I'm going to be going on the bridge of the nose. And right here. This is off center. It's so hard to see with the shadows and the lights. And I'm going to blend that little bit of concealer up. Because it's going to look crazy if it's just the little light part on the nose. Going back in with that brow. Holla. There we go. With a long robe, but we got through it. That's basically how I contour my nose. Pray for me. I like putting on my highlight before I put on my setting powder. I feel like once you put your setting powder on, it dims your light. I'm going to be using this Colourpop Tinkerbell Happy Thought Super Shock Cheek. No, it's the Colourpop Tinkerbell collection. Super Shock Cheek. Gotta call it by its government. Super Shock Cheek highlighter in the shade Happy Thoughts, which is my favorite highlighter. I like that. It's like, you know, it's a little glowy. It's a little glowy. Got some cream to it. I don't like using powder highlights because it'd be looking a little ashy. I'm going to be taking this on a Morphe M510. And I'm going to just start applying the highlight. One thing about oh, God, Jesus. One thing about highlight and blushes, you're going to be kind of reapplying and readjusting it as you start setting the face, just because setting powder will just dull everything out. Also, once you put the eyeshadow on. So, I'm going to just go on the apple of my cheek, which is that little high point. I still like highlight. Most times I like doing a matte face because sometimes highlight is not necessary. I feel like highlight just makes you look so pretty and happy. Like, I still like highlight. I still rock with highlight. Especially if it's a glowy highlight like this. Like, people don't even be realizing you're wearing highlight. For real, for real. Because they think highlight just looks like that one little ashy metallic streak on your face. No, we've evolved. I be wearing highlight. I'm going to add a little bit more blush just because I have dulled it out just a smidge with the highlight. And then just a little bit more highlight. Yeah. Yeah. Add a little bit more spray. Yeah. I like to fan it, especially if you put too much setting spray on. Just go ahead and fan your face, because otherwise, if you put too much on, it's gonna start dripping. Right now, I didn't put too much on, but that's a pro tip right there. Once it starts dripping, and now your highlights and your contour, and it's dripping down your face, so just go ahead and, you know, fan that out. Also, because I don't have time to wait. I don't have time to wait. I'm trying to get through my makeup today. Let's talk setting powder. I'm going to be using Laura Mercier translucent powder. I'm not going to be using the honey one because I feel like it's a little bit too dark for me sometimes. I'm going to be taking this Real Techniques brush. This was also in the 4 set that I showed you earlier. This is probably the brush I get the most questions about. I'm going to dip it into the setting powder. I put the setting powder in the top. Y'all know I like when I just get a little bit of product and make it more manageable, other than trying to dip it into the... I mean, that's too much. Make it easier for you. I will say, I drop a lot of setting powder like this though. I'm going to take that brush and go right on the outside of this nose. And I mean, I'm going to pack it on. I don't really bake. I have normal to dry skin, so there's really no need for baking. Also, like, I think I get enough coverage. I don't really need to bake. But this nose, I do let it sit for a while, because I needed to correct my mistakes. Since I have my nose rings and I can go a little crazy. I gotta make sure that line is straight, because that'll be left behind later. Fantastic. I'm gonna let that sit for a while. So I'm gonna be taking this Anastasia, I think this is it's A22, and I'm going to go back into that powder. I'm gonna hit that forehead and this little piece right here on top of my brows. I don't know why. Here's the thing about taking makeup pictures and being a like content creator and having to edit them. I know like what's gonna bother me later. Like, it may not bother me right now, but it's always something in a photograph that I'm like, so I'm like, okay, instead of just having to edit that every single time, let's figure out what you can do about it. Like, the top of my eyebrow is just always shiny when I edit pictures. So now I'm like, okay, let's just be proactive. I'm all about being proactive, because, whew, when you see stuff later on, you're like, come on now. So that's why I gotta get my forehead and my eyebrow, because it may not look like a big deal to you, but it's always a big deal to editing more. So, yeah. I'm gonna add a smidge underneath the eye. I told you I want this to be glowy, so I don't want too much matteness going on. And honestly, we're gonna be using eyeshadow on the under eye, so that's gonna set it anyway. And then the smile lines, I get a lot of questions about how do I, you know, fix my smile line. You don't. If you watch my other tutorials, when I do my base first and I'm talking, the smile, you don't. You just throughout the day, just go like this. That's all I can help. That's all I can say. And if you find out something better, let me know. Because I figured it out. It don't really bother me anymore. Like, I just have deep smile lines. And I do the chin. Because oily chins just don't photograph well for me. And I'm going to add some more highlight. Because it gets a little drowned out when you add that setting powder and a little bit blush. Holla. Alright, let's get into these eyes. I'm going to let this set and I'll finish the nose in a second. Let's get into the eyes right now. So I'm going to take the M410 from before, and I'm going to go into this NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Y'all know I usually use an eyeshadow primer, but like, I'm not taking an eyeshadow primer out for this because it's just going to be brown. 1, 2. I already have this out, so let's just make 2, right? So I'm going to take this Morphe M410, which is the flat brush from before when I did the foundation. And I'm just going to I'm going to go under my brow and, you know, clean it up. And then apply that to the rest of the lid. Alright, then I'm going to just take this flat brush and blend that out, blend that down. We might need a little bit more. The Creamy Radiant Concealer is just so dainty, like just a little bit. The doe foot is small. The way it blends out is real like creamy and light. It's not. It's not your full coverage girl at all. I'm gonna blend it down just a little bit because we're gonna be going outside of the scope of the investigation now. I've been watching How to Get Away with Murder, but we're gonna go outside of the eye and blending it onto the cheek. See what I said about us putting eyeshadow right here, so that wouldn't really matter, but I like to be thorough. First step first, we're going to take this Colourpop E15. It looks like this. And we're going to be going into the Colored Raine, once again blacked on. Colored Raine bronzer in Cinnabae. It's going to be like our star for this eyeshadow look. And we're just going to go into the crease. The crease is where you open your eye. That's the crease. So right where, you know, you can kind of feel that space, you feel like a bone and some meat. Well, that's a crazy way to describe an eye. But where your eye opens and closes. Everybody's crease looks different, but that is what we're going into. It's kind of like the midpoint between the lid and the eyebrow as well. Make sure really get in that inner corner just because we messed up that contour. So yeah. Alright. So now that we have that, I'm going to be going into, actually I'm probably going to need like 3 eyeshadows, not just 1. I'm going to be going into another Colored Raine product. Also, I have to give this disclaimer every single time. If you don't have the exact palettes that I have, that's absolutely fine. Just try to go for the shades that I have. So this is going to be a dark brown, and now we're going to go into our medium brown. So we're going to be taking the shade Sweet Potato Mango, which looks like this. And we're using an Ulta 3-in-1 eyeshadow brush. So something that's a little, just a smidge less dense than this brush. As you go up the eye, you're going to want something that is less and less dense. The less dense brushes you're going to use more towards the brow. The more dense brushes you're going to use more towards the lash line. I'll still make that video on like eyeshadow brushes and what you use them for if y'all want it. And I'm going to blend that out just a smidge. The reason why I use that shadow is because it has a sienna vibe to it. It's a little bit more orange toned, and I feel like it just looks great with my skin tone, and it looks way more cohesive than just Cinnabae with the rest of the face. We're also going to be adding a little bit of the Sweet Potato Mango into my blush. See, there we go. Blending towards the brow bone, blending towards the brow bone. Then lastly, we're going to go into this Colourpop Gone Matte palette. I hate when I have a video and I feel like I'm just opening up too many palettes, but like, just go for the colors, okay? Don't worry about the palettes and how many palettes you have. Just go for the colors. I have a whole bunch of colors, a whole bunch of palettes that I could have pulled a light brown from. So I'm going to use this light color right here. and this one right here. I would say the name, but all of these eyeshadows fell out and I put them back in where I thought they went, so I'm not sure if that's the name. So we're gonna use this light tan shade right here. This is like a little orange tone, which is gonna help with the cohesiveness. And this shade here, I'm using a Morphe V204 brush. These are the new vegan brushes. They're engraved. Ooh, hard on the eyes to read. And so what I'm going to do is just start blending up near the brow bone. And now I'm just going to reinforce those colors. So now I'm going to go back into Sweet Potato Mango and then go back into the bronzer until I feel like, ah, yes, I like how this crease looks. Okay, do something crazy. I'm gonna go into a little bit of this orange too. This orange. And then a little bit of Sweet Potato Mango. Only because I feel like the face is so warm. And I want to make sure that the browns are cohesive. And it looks good with the rest of my face makeup. So yeah. If you have more cool tones going on, like you have a cool tone blush and stuff like that, you may not need to add orange. But it's just a creative decision for the sake of, you know, the rest of my face, which is already pretty warm. Okay, so my phone definitely died. And you're not, it's not, okay, there we go. So my phone definitely died. But let me tell you what I did. I just took a flat brush like this. This is a Colourpop E4. Tap it into that bronzer and just go down to the bottom of the lash. Why? Just because that's the darkest shade. I want to make sure that it really is solidified right through on the lid. I'm going to take that Morphe E15 and just going to blend that out. So I blended out where I put that Cinnabae bronzer, which was our dark brown, on the lid, and I just blended it out. That's all that we missed, I believe. Okay, so now let's go into the waterline and finishing out the face. So for the waterline, I'm going to be using this Makeup Forever Aqua Resist Color Pencil in Ebony. Love her very much. There's also a sharpener on this side, which I don't think I realized. But yes, I'm going to be using this shade. It's a brown. You know how I feel about black waterlines. I love black waterlines. I love white waterlines. White waterlines are going to open up the eye. Black waterlines are going to give you a more severe look. And it's going to make your eye color pop more. With this look, I want to also... it's going to accentuate your lower lashes. And that's really what I want to give. I want to make my lower lashes look like, oh my gosh, it's the best lower lashes ever. And I feel like when you have a black waterline, very much that. All right, so I'm using brown today instead of black just to go with the whole theme. We got this whole brown look going. I'm going to be using Ebony. It's still really dark though. And so I'm just going to take this one right to the waterline simply because this is so small. Usually I use a detail brush, but I'm like, I feel like this applicator, this pencil is small enough. You know, I don't need that. Also, I'm going to be blending it out with brown, so I don't need to be as clean. Somebody asked me, you know, how do I make my waterline not look messy? Using a small craft brush like this. This is a Morphe M250. Using a small craft brush and, you know, getting into there. But since it's all brown, I don't need. I don't feel like I need to do that today. And we don't need to get more brushes dirty. Holla. So first, I'm going to be going into the tan shades from the Colourpop Gone Matte palette, and using this Ulta Beauty 3-in-1 shadow brush, which is this. And I'm going to go onto the lower lash line. I like blending lower lash line shades from lightest to darkest. I don't like blending it from darkest to lightest just because I feel like it's messier and harder to control. I'm trying to control the narratives, okay? Now I'm going to go into the colored Raine palette, and I'm going to go into Sweet Potato Mango and that Turmeric Shot shade. I would literally buy that palette just for those two shades. I love those. I'm going to blend it. Okay, we blended too much. Use that powder brush and just mellow that out. All mistakes are a learning opportunity. Here, go underneath. I also feel like if you go from dark to light on the lower lash line, it's really hard to blend down here. Like, it's really hard to blend. You don't really want to necessarily be blending. So that's why I like the blend already being there, and then you just add this darker shade, which is going to be Cinnabae. And I'm going to use a Colourpop E4, just a flat brush. And really go onto the lash line. I don't want to go down too far. That looks good on some people. I don't think it looks that good on me. Like very dark, very low lash line. I like to keep it near the vest. Add a little up here, and then just a smidge of blending, just a little blending. Not much at all. Now I'm going to take the highlight and just go a little bit back over. I told you we're going to be applying a lot of highlight. I'm going to go a little bit back over. A little bit of blush. And speaking of blush, I'm going to be going into my color Raine palette and using those two eyeshadows that we used before. I like my makeup look real matchy-matchy. So I'm going to go into Turmeric Shot, a lot of that, and a little bit of Sweet Potato Mango. Because, yeah, I like when my eyeshadow and my lips and my blush and everything matches. And what better way to get a perfect match than using my eyeshadow? I said this the other day in my half cut crease eyeshadow video, which you should watch if you haven't. And my mom was watching it, and she watches all my videos. I don't know why when I said it the other day, she was so shocked. She was like, eyeshadow on the lips? Yes. Yes. If you're gonna put it on your eye, you can definitely put it on your lips. Holla. Alright. Adding a little bit more. Adding a little bit more. Alright, now it's time to do the lashes. I'm gonna start my lower lashes. And yeah, I'm gonna start on the lower lashes. I'm gonna wiggle across. Top lashes really don't matter much, because you know, we're gonna put on faux lashes. We'll fix that later. I'm really trying to get y'all, especially people who are beginners in makeup, to adopt a it's not that big a deal mentality when you mess up with makeup. Because literally about 86% of the time, it's really not. The other 2% is when your lashes don't match and working with red eyeshadow. And the key to this whole mascara thing is letting it dry. You let it dry first. See, this got dry and crumbled. Just let it dry first. Add a little bit of concealer. You might not even need concealer. You might just need to put a little powder on top of it. Boom. No big deal. I was going to put a beauty mark there anyway. No big deal. Alright. Let's do lips and then I'll put on lashes. Alright. So let's finish addressing the nose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe all the powder off. And I'm actually going to add a little bit more right here because it's a little bit off. Luckily we didn't do the lips yet. So I just checked on this. It needs a little bit more time. So while that does that, I'm going to go into my highlight again. I'm going to use a small brush. The first small brush I see for real. This is a Colourpop E20 brush. And I'm going to apply some to the tip of the nose and the bridge. And a little bit more highlight. Boom. Now we're going to highlight the Cupid's bow. Put that little piece, that little V on top of your lips. So, first things first, I'm going to be taking this NYX Epic Smoke Liner in Mocha Match. multi-use pencil. I think it's for your eyes, but hey. Filling it in a little bit on the corners. I'm gonna take this Colourpop Lippy Stick and Cookie. I know what you're thinking, Lauren, it looks a mess. It's not filled in all the way on the corners. Lauren, it's not filled in. That's because I'm gonna be taking a little bit of this bronzer and a little bit of our medium brown shade. Walk with me. And filling in those gaps right along the edge. Because I want to bring out that brown in the eye. I want it to match. We'll add a little more liner. And yes, I'm not even gonna add a gloss. Because usually I be itching to add a gloss. I'm gonna add a gloss. I like this combo. Just the way it is. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit of that light cream shadow from right here just because it's the only shadow I see that's light. You can also use your highlight for this. I'm just going to add a little bit right here underneath the opening of the eye. A little bit, you know, right on the inner corner. Just a little bit, not too much. Y'all know usually I'd be taking it to the max. I'd be getting the whitest eyeshadow and taking it to the max. Not today. I feel like this eye does not call for all of that. So I'm going to add my lashes because I feel like that's going to be an experience that I should do privately because I feel like it's going to be a mess. I do have a video on how to apply lashes. If y'all want to make a new one, I can because that's a couple years old. But I'm going to apply my lashes real quick and take my hair out and I'll be right back. Holla. Alrighty, so here is the final look. If you want to know how I did these color brows, please go check out that tutorial. I have a color brow tutorial in blue and also one on these fiery brows, so please check those out. Give this video a like if you learn anything. If you try this look, tag me on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. I'd love to see it. Follow me on my socials at Raggedyroyal on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And yeah, subscribe for more videos like this. And comment down below what video you want to see next. It could be makeup, influencer insiders, anything. Let me know down below and I'll see y'all in the next video and on my other socials. Bye. Thank you for watching.